Good morning. I'm very proud to stand here for my 6th year in a row as we recognize the 21st annual Denim Day in the city of Los Angeles. I am joined by some of our biggest advocates for women and women's rights, including my good friend Patty Giggins, the CEO of Peace Over Violence. Let's give her a big, and the founder of Denim Day. I'm also joined by my sister on the city council and a fellow women's advocate, Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, as well as our good friend from across the street, County Board of Supervisor Hilda Solink, is also a longtime supporter of women's rights. Today, we wear denim in support of the movement launched by Peace Over Violence in response to an unjust court ruling in 1998. Italian Supreme Court justices overturned a rape conviction, ruling that since the victim was wearing jeans, she must have been able to help the man rape her to remove her jeans. In other words, she was actually providing consent. Still today, 22 years after the case, I'm outraged. And I'm outraged because we all know that her experience has played out in countless women across the nation and across the planet. It pains me to know that rather than receiving justice, she was blamed and further victimized. Here in the city of Los Angeles, women in our own city have to escape similar trauma and abuse. This is why we stand here today in front of the Los Angeles City Hall, the People's Building, to reiterate enough is enough. And while we face a lot of uncertainties with the current COVID-19 pandemic, we must be able to tell everyone across our city, women and men, that abuse in our city will not be tolerated. That even during these uncertain times, the most vulnerable must be heard and they must be protected. As we stay home to help flatten the COVID-19 curve, some might be able to do that. But what does that mean for someone who's being abused? Someone who has no other choice and has no other way to protect themselves. Literally, for them, being safer at home is not really a reality. These are women who face pandemics outside of their doors and personal pandemic inside their own homes. In fact, I introduced a motion last week about the rise in domestic violence cases with the safer at home orders during this pandemic. In Los Angeles, there was a 25% rise in calls of domestic violence to our hotline during the first week of the emergency order, and 51% rise in the second week. And we believe that these numbers are underreported. One of my biggest concerns is the undocumented women and undocumented communities who have no other choice and sometimes fear reporting their cases because they fear their own government. So it could be very well that these numbers are even higher in the undocumented immigrant women, and that really scares me. I'm hopeful that with our motion, we can shine some light on what's really happening and be able to provide even more services to these women to be able to come forward. And during the pandemic, organizers like Peace Over Violence are essential workers who are who are in the trenches, providing services and support for victims of domestic violence, sex trafficking, sexual assault, and all types of other horrific acts against women, children. We need to depend on Peace Over Violence to be able to speak up for these workers and for these victims. As we step forward and meet on the City Council, today we are also going to proclaim that Wednesday, April 29th is Denim Day here in the city of LA. We want to remind every woman in our city that you will be heard and you have people who have your back. If you or someone you know is being abused or sexually assaulted, the organization Peace Over Violence, as well as the city of Los Angeles, is here to support you. We need to lift you up and make sure you never feel abandoned. Make sure that you know that we believe in you. So today, tomorrow, and forever, we have had to echo that never is there an excuse for sexual assault. There's never an excuse for sexual misconduct. There's never an excuse for rape. And there's never an excuse to fault a victim when she comes forward. These voices are not only of one single woman, but is a movement of women and activists and survivors who have committed themselves to ensure that women's voices are heard not only today, but every day. With that, I want to introduce my sister on the City Council, Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, also the chairwoman of the Public Safety Committee.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez, and I also want to echo my thanks and deepest gratitude to Patty Giggins for her relentless and tenacious advocacy. She is part of the essential working class here in Los Angeles, for her dedication to help make sure that we are protecting victims in their most vulnerable time. As Councilwoman Martinez mentioned, we know that we are experiencing a severe increase in the amount of victims that are experiencing domestic violence and have endured the trauma that has gone beyond the initial trauma of COVID-19. And it is our collective responsibility to make sure that we support and protect these victims in their most dire needs. That is why we continue to advocate and expand resources here in the City of Los Angeles to ensure their voices are heard and that they are not ignored. It is important that collectively we all say that no means no. Sexual assault, sexual violence, and more importantly, victim shaming will not be tolerated here in the City of Los Angeles, and we are resoundingly making sure that these voices are heard. And so I want to thank all of the allies in this movement, but most importantly, I want to thank Peace Over Violence for their advocacy, for never shying away from the difficult conversation of making sure that these victims don't stand alone. And here in the City of Los Angeles, I also want to recognize our Los Angeles Police Department, DART members that are working tirelessly to make sure that we are supporting families during these incredible times. Because it's through their work that we will continue to uplift and protect victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, and make sure that their voices are heard, that our patterns are changing, and that we all stand together in solidarity to support them. So thank you all very much. Make sure you wear in solidarity today, Denim Day, here in the City of LA. But more importantly, make sure you do the work that's necessary to help report and support all the victims of domestic violence and of sexual assault. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to welcome County Supervisor Hilda Solis.
Buenos dias and good morning to everyone. I want to thank Council President Nury Martinez for hosting this press conference today to commemorate the 21st annual Denim Day in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. I also want to recognize Councilmember Monica Rodriguez and, of course, the outstanding Patty Giggins, our CEO of Peace Over Violence, for pulling this together. She's been a tremendous advocate for so many women, especially women of color and immigrant women. Although we're practicing physical distancing today, we are united in our solidarity with sexual assault survivors. Sexual violence, as you know, is a serious public health issue. It is devastating and destructive, to a conduct that you know hurts so many, not just the survivor, but the society as well as her family or her friends. With the efforts of Peace Over Violence, my colleagues here today and the many survivors and nonprofit organizations supporting them are on the path to ending sexual assault violence. We are choosing peace over violence. Our neighbors are enduring profound harm due to sexual violence, and that's why today, Denim Day is so important. Yesterday at the LA County Board of Supervisors, we approved my motion that was co-authored by Supervisor Kuehl, proclaiming this month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and proclaiming today Denim Day. This proclamation is a recognition of our continued work. We need to wrap around our survivors and provide them with housing, child care, mental health services, whatever it takes to keep them safe and healthy, no matter what pandemic strikes us. That means our work is not finished and we cannot give up. We stand in solidarity with those who have endured sexual violence. We need to continue to help survivors through their journey and simultaneously work to educate others to prevent and end sexual violence for all of them. This is now true more than ever. The Safer at Home order is a necessary response in working to protect LA County residents. However, there are those who are not safer at home because of sexual violence. And we urge you, por favor, to call 213-626-3396. Or if you're experiencing sexual violence, please seek help. You can even call 211, our county hotline, to get information. Denim Day is a campaign to encourage people to wear denim or jeans, and both sexes can do it, men and women and trans, and fight against those misconceptions of sexual violence. I want to thank again my outstanding friend and colleagues, Patty Giggins, Peace Over Violence, for championing this campaign on behalf of Los Angeles County, and we will work to support survivors through their journey and their work to educate others to end sexual violence. It's time to fight back against misconceptions that surround sexual violence. It's time to believe in the survivors. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Now, I would like to introduce our good friend, a friend of not only ourselves, I think we've worked with Patty on different occasions, but a friend of women and children across the city, a friend of survivors, and a trailblazer, our good friend, Patty Giggins, the CEO of Peace Over Violence.
Thank you so much. I almost feel like anything that I will say today is redundant because of the leadership and these wonderful spokespeople that we have on behalf of not only Denim Day, but on the issues of the prevention of sexual and domestic violence, stalking, elder abuse, child abuse, all of which, unfortunately, is still going on within the shelter at home and the safer at home orders that we are all trying to deal with. We want to recognize that this is a pandemic that we are all participating in, but we are not going to forget that there's been an epidemic of sexual and domestic violence for decades, for centuries. But we are making progress, and the pandemic is not going to stop us. I'm so grateful to the leadership of our city and our county. Denim Day started right here 21 years ago, Denim Day in LA, and it has grown now where millions of people participate. It started as a grassroots campaign. It is now an international campaign, and people are participating even during COVID-19 around the world virtually and online, because these issues are fundamental. When I talk about where we need to go to remedy our society, to disrupt rape culture and create a culture of compassion and humanity where everyone is included. There's no such thing as marginalized anymore. That's where we have to go. And this concept of solidarity, which is our theme for Denim Day 2020, it's about solidarity among all of us to intervene and prevent sexual and domestic violence. Just as it is we're wearing our masks. We're wearing denim masks today. We will have to do our work moving forward to defeat the virus, but also to change the culture, change the society, so that at some point, that message, there's no excuse and never an invitation to harass, to abuse, to assault, to rape, that we don't need to hear that message anymore. I believe that we will get there someday because of our enlightened leadership and because, like a virus, these better messages are going to defeat the harmful messages. So solidarity is our theme. That means we stand together. We're wearing masks to protect ourselves and each other. That's a community public health action that we're taking together. We can support survivors by not shaming them when they come forward, by not blaming, by respecting their experience, by changing laws, by having the courts and the juries listen more intently to their truths. We can do this. We've been at it for a while, and I personally, and I know my colleagues here, will not give up until we do it. We stand in solidarity with survivors here in Los Angeles and all over the world. Thank you so much.
Let me just say a few words in Spanish. Is there Spanish media here? Okay, let me just say a few words in Spanish, if I may. Buenos días, estoy muy orgullosa de estar aquí por el 6º año consecutivo en el día de Denim Day en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Hoy me acompaña la concejal Mónica Rodríguez, la supervisora Hilda Solís y nuestra amiga Patty Giggins, que es la directora general de la organización Peace Over Violence. En este día nos ponemos pantalones de mezclilla para apoyar el movimiento que empezó la organización Peace Over Violence en el caso de justicia en la Corte en 1998. Los jueces de la Corte concluyeron que una víctima que fue violada no había podido ser violada porque el hombre tenía pantalones de mezclilla ese día y no podría ser violada sin que ella se hubiera quitado los pantalones de mezclilla, y concluyeron que en ese caso no fue violencia, pero que ella participó en ese acto sexual. Y estamos aquí como mujeres, como líderes municipales, para asegurarles a todas las víctimas de la violencia doméstica y la violencia sexual, de que estamos aquí para apoyarlos y para seguir luchando contra la injusticia, y recordarles a todas las personas de que nunca hay una invitación para ser violada ni para ser víctima de violencia doméstica. Hemos sabido que los casos de personas hablando al teléfono hotline donde pueden agarrar recursos ha incrementado por más del 51% las llamadas en los próximos 2 semanas después de que se declaró esta emergencia. Estamos muy preocupados por las personas que están viviendo en violencia porque no tienen ningún otro recurso más que quedarse en casa. Hay que seguir apoyando a estas personas y otra vez recordarle al público que nunca hay una invitación para la violencia. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias a la presidenta del consulado aquí en Los Ángeles, también la consulada representante Mónica García y también Patty Giggins. Es un placer estar aquí hoy día con ustedes, pero es un día también bien triste porque sabemos todavía que no salimos de la pandemia del coronavirus, pero esto no nos va a dejar a no observar el Día de la Mezclilla en el condado de Los Ángeles y aquí también en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Estamos aquí para apoyar a las víctimas de agresión sexual. La violencia sexual es un problema bien grande en nuestra salud pública. Es una conducta que daña a solo las sobrevivientes, sino que también a nuestra sociedad. Ahora podemos ayudar a las víctimas ofreciéndoles una casa, cuidado infantil y servicios de salud mental. Vivir una vida saludable es importante para ellas y sus familias. Es necesario continuar ayudando a las víctimas y a sus familias. También hay que trabajar para educar a otros para prevenir y a poner al fin la violencia sexual. Hoy es el día de apoyar a las víctimas, quienes no son víctimas, son sobrevivientes con fuerza y esperanza. Muchísimas gracias.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to the vote this morning to declare Denim Day today, Wednesday, April 29th. Thank you.